Okay. We're with Emmanuel Jones, brother of Clifford Jones. Um, he's gonna detail basically what happened the day that his brother disappeared. Do I have your permission to film this interview, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And do I have your permission to make these things known to the public?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You want to say your name for the record?
My name is Emmanuel Williams. Emmanuel Williams.
Okay, that's right. Williams, my bad. Okay. And can you basically explain how me and you met and how you became involved with this project that we're working on?
Um, Recently, I was contacted by y'all, and y'all was saying y'all was working on this thing with Wayne Williams, and basically we're trying to help people solve these kids' cases.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. And your brother's name was?
Clifford Jones. Clifford Jones.
Okay. All right. Can you detail the accounts? Give a good detailed account of what happened on the day that your brother disappeared.
Yeah. Basically, it was one early morning, basically August the 20th. That morning, 1980, my brother and I basically walked up to a grocery store for my grandmother with an auntie of mine, and we basically went in there to get some breakfast food for breakfast. And my brother asked me could he help an old lady take her groceries out to the car. And basically I looked and saw the old lady, seen it was a real old lady, and I allowed him to leave out the grocery store, and he never came back in the grocery store. And we searched for him, looking for him, and no one hadn't seen him. Basically ran into a police officer, and the police officer basically took us to the scene before my brother's body would be found at the place. It's a place called the Washerette.
Right.
And
So the police officer took you to what eventually ended up being the crime scene.
yes, they took us to the crime scene before it was a crime scene there, right to the spot where he would be found.
Right.
And
This was Atlanta police officer.
Atlanta police, and these people had kidnapped my brother, a man named Jamie Brooks, Horace Hopgood, Freddie Cosby. These guys held my brother captive in a laundromat right on the corner of Hollywood Road, and they raped him and beat him all day long. One of the people stood in the doorway watching my brother get raped, crying, screaming, saying he wanted to go home, and saying that he was going to tell his grandmother, and said that the dude, Jamie Brooks, put a rope around his neck and pulled on the rope. And basically the man told the police this, and said that the little boy was just wiggling. I mean, I don't know, that sounds like a real true statement of someone saying someone getting strangled. And the police had all this information, and they still they still blame someone else for Clifford murder, and knowing Wayne Williams didn't kill Clifford.
Right.
This boy saw who killed Clifford, and then on the outside of the laundromat there were people sitting on their porch in the back of the laundromat, where they could see directly, like in the back of the laundromat. And these people saw, heard a little boy hollering and screaming, and later on that night they saw the man that appeared to be Jamie Brooks wearing a gray hooded smock walk out and he had something. They said he had something slumpy in his arms, and it was wrapped in a plastic bag, and it didn't appear to look like trash. So they kept sitting there playing the cards and drinking their beer while they watching this person that looks like the man that runs the laundromat, which is Jamie Brooks. They said this man had something in his arms. He went to the trash can like he was going to put it in the trash can, and then turned and walked away from the trash can and laid what he had in his arms down onto the ground, and then basically walked back to the corner of the laundromat, get on the phone, and make a phone call. And that phone call that this person made was called to the 911 and said, it's a young body laying out here on the street. And then the people in the back that was watching all of this stuff, they said after he did that, he went back into the laundromat from the same area that he came from, and then 5-10 minutes later, then here come the police and the FBI and everybody showing up with big bright lights and this little boy on the land on the ground. But the people didn't come off of their porch. You see what I'm saying? They didn't know what the person had laid down, but they told the police that this person looked like Jamie Brooks. And then not only that, the police, they kept covering up Clifford's murder. I'm just trying to understand. If the child had skin under his nails, that meant he fought for his life. And the person you arrested and basically blamed this person, Wayne Williams, for being the Atlanta child killer. But you didn't charge this man for killing no kids. But you put all these children named and closed all these children cases under Wayne Williams, and Wayne Williams was arrested with no inflicted wounds. No inflicted wounds, and that means you don't got no scars on you. You feel me? I mean, Clifford was brutally raped, strangled, and beat to death.
How old was your brother?
Clifford was 12 years old, and I was basically 12 years old too. We both the same age. You know what I'm saying? I'm older than him, but our birthdays were close together. My birthday is November, his birthday is October. So we was like real close in age. And it breaks my heart to know that I allowed him to leave out of that grocery store and he never returned to us. And he was just brutally raped, beat, and strangled, and just thrown out onto the street like then we wasn't even from here. We came here to visit my grandmother. We was only here for, we wasn't even here for a whole week. We came from Cleveland, Ohio to see my grandmother and to meet our great grandmother that we hadn't even met yet, which was my grandmother's mother. No, and my mother hadn't even made it into Atlanta. She sent us ahead of time. She flew in after us. And before she got down here within the 2-week period that we spent with my grandmother, someone had done took Clifford. In fact, my brother Clifford had wrote a letter to my mother and sent it home. Okay? What? He mailed a letter. We mailed a letter to our mother. We sent it home and said, Mom, we ready to come home. Because we had, you know what I'm saying? We didn't understand Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know nothing about this place. Right? So we out here and things were just looking very strange to us, and we were basically kind of scared, being honest. You know what I'm saying? Because this was, you know, some place we ain't never been before. You know what I'm saying? and we seen people were running around doing everything, all kind of stuff.
Atlanta was a war zone at that
Yeah,
time.
it was scary.
Yeah.
Cause my grandma would tell you, don't, man, you can't walk out there on the streets and be walking out there and be out there at night. You know what I'm saying? You hear the curfew and this and that,
Right.
So we didn't
Right.
understand all that stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We was in fear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And to give a little background on the part of the city that was that's the west side, Zone 1, synonymously known as the worst part of Atlanta, especially in those days.
Mhm.
Hollywood Road was a very dangerous place, and Bankhead Highway, where the grocery store was a very dangerous place. A lot of the children that ended up being taken were taken from that area. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I felt like the police, they didn't really care. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the police had to have knowledge of what was going on. If the police,
They knew
right,
what was going on, because the police actually said that, oh, you know, that laundromat on that corner there, they also have gay parades up in there where men just get together and have sex at this laundromat.
Hmm.
And yet and still, they waited almost two years, almost 2 years, to even question Jamie Brooks.
right,
They waited 2 years to even question Jamie Brooks, and then I have the paperwork. Okay, it shows that this man, they detected that it was this man's voice that made the 911 call at 9:41, saying that this little boy's body is laying out here on this corner. They identified his voice as being that person, Jamie Brooks. Okay, and another thing, he had did a lie detector test. They found him. He failed the polygraph test. You know, they asked him a few questions in the beginning, and that didn't have anything to do with my brother's case. All those who came back, okay. But when they asked him questions about the event of what happened to Clifford Jones, he had plenty of disturbance in
the polygraph.
his polygraph test.
Wow.
Okay, so the few questions that they asked him basically was like, maybe like, I read them. It was like 20 some questions. You know what I'm saying? They asked him different questions. You know what I'm saying? So all those different ones, he failed them. He failed them, and they yet and still allowed this person to get up, walk out of the police station without being arrested or charged with anything. He said he had no recollection. He couldn't remember. And then they said the boy that stood in the doorway of the laundromat watching these guys rape and strangle Clifford, that his statement was not credible.
Wow, I wish I had a picture of this man to show to you.
They said his statement was not credible. So they just basically just closed the case and made it a cold case, cause you can't close the case.
Yeah. Do you think you could identify the police officer if you saw him?
The one that took us over there?
Yeah,
I probably could.
you could.
Cause see, my mind goes back.
Hmm. that's something I wanna that we gonna have to explore in this, because one of the things that we know now is that there was a serial killer named Ed Edwards that was operating in the Atlanta area at the time, and he will probably go down as the most notorious serial killer ever, and he was actually a GBI informant, and he worked with a lot of people like Jamie Brooks, because Jamie Brooks was mentally ill, and he would get people to do these type of things, and then he would go mark the body. So that mark that that Clifford had on the side of his face, that's one of the things that we think is that this man, before Jamie disposed of the body, this man probably came over there to put the mark on his face. So that's one of the things that we learning about what's been going on, and why all of this had to be hidden, and why the GBI was, keeping stuff from local law enforcement, and local law enforcement, Decatur ain't working with Atlanta, and all this type of stuff, because it was a whole bunch of unseen hands that was involved in this, that's way bigger than what people saw. Wayne Williams, or Jamie Brooks, or either any of the other suspects that we know about. And do you know what happened to Jamie Brooks, right?
Well, I heard that he supposedly died.
Yeah.
In prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what he died of?
AIDS.
Yeah. I heard. Yeah, he died of HIV/AIDS in Georgia prison system. So I think that's very important to know. Wayne Williams been locked up for 33 years now, and you do those type of things, the things that he was accused of, you don't last that long in the prison system.
No.
So.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
You got to look at this thing, and these people. Well, I can tell you, bruh, I done tried so long to get help, because I'm fighting basically for my brother. You know what I'm saying? This thing, I can't just let it go, because even though this person he's dead and gone, right?
Right.
Justice has still not been served.
Right.
Not to my family. Not to the other kids.
Right.
Not to Wayne Williams, because I basically see Wayne Williams as one of the last Atlanta child victims, because he was a young man.
Okay.
He was a young man, and he was a young smart man.
Right.
And he was an entrepreneur.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And he was taken from his mother and his father, and to have to be in prison,
right,
for something you ain't even do,
right,
and your mother and father died, and you the only child, and
right,
and you know, I don't even think they allowed him to come out there to see him.
They did, and his only living family member, his auntie, she passed about 9 months ago. So all his family gone now.
Wow.
Yep.
And that is very sad.
Yep.
I think they owe us for what they allowed to happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we've been trying to get people to help us with suing these people for the negligence and cover up they done done.
Right.
And to allow my brother's murder to just go uncared about
Right.
by no one. Thank that you all, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
are still trying to help, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
get this story to people that can do something to help us, because
Right.
we're we're small folks,
Right.
and then everybody that we don't try to go to help us, bro, they either get bought out, or they say, well, you don't got no money or nothing to fight with. We can't do nothing.
Right.
But I don't see all kind of people murders,
Right.
get cases, and you know what I'm saying. They find these folks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying.
Right.
And then their families get paid for whatever don't know what wrong.
Right.
I mean, I know, times supposed to be don't change. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
And I don't want to feel like because we're black and we're just not ain't gonna be nobody.
Right.
I refuse to be that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm gonna continue to fight until I find out who gonna help us.
Right. And for every brother like you, there's other victims. They had more than one brother or sister.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And some of these people's from large families. I know Miss Venus, when we talked, Angela Lanier, they had just moved down here from Chicago.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And she
Mhm.
moved down here from Chicago as a single mother, working, taking care of her children, and her baby gone within
Yep.
a few months, I think it was.
Yep. I wrote a song about these kids.
Yeah.
And what happened to these kids. And I think it was Lee Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I think his daughter, her name is Miss Sunshine, and she would have this big old thing where all the families come together, and we basically get together and talk about the kids' cases, and trying to get people to come in and help with opening, get these cases reopened, so we can finally find the true people that did these murders.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And her father was dedicated to this thing, so they kept on having these benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And I would come and I would perform the song there,
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to get the song on a couple of radio stations, and a lot of people may have felt that it was a little controversial. You know what I'm saying? And basically, when you tell the truth, ain't no one gonna play that.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
I mentioned all of the children's names.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly say what happened to the kids,
Right.
right? But I let the people know that this child was murdered in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and that Atlanta didn't care enough to do a thing about their murder.
Mm-hmm.
I said these were babies.
Mm-hmm.
I said these children's lives that was taken has led their family members down a terrible lifestyle or path,
Right.
because
Yep.
of people being mean and not caring,
Evil.
evil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Saying what it is. It's
it is
evil.
what it is.
Straight
and
up
you
evil.
dead.
Yeah.
Don't
Some
nobody
of these
care.
mothers ended up abusing drugs because of
Yeah,
what
they
happened.
got on drugs because ain't no telling their children's spirits are coming back to them and saying, "How did this happen to me, Mama?
Right.
How could this happen to me?"
Right.
You know, and ain't nobody closer to their child than
Their
their
mother.
parent, their mother.
Right.
You feel me? My
Right.
mother is stuck here in Atlanta right now, because I tried to get her to move away, you know. But she says Clifford's spirit and soul is right here, and she knows it, and she can't leave until something is done. Even though she don't want to get on the camera no more, she don't want nobody to say nothing to it because she don't want no. She basically wants.
Fearful.
She's fearful of what these whoever these higher people that has something to do with this could do to us, and she basically afraid for my life.
Right.
You know, I'm not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because God take me when He ready.
Right.
I'm gonna fight.
Right.
For my brother.
Right.
Because I know someone else killed Clifford.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If it takes my life, so be it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I die, but you know, it won't be the end because this thing is still gonna have to come to the light.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That they were wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they just like anyone else that commit a crime, what they're doing is committing a crime, and they have to pay for that.
Right.
Just like any other citizen.
That's right.
You know? And I don't know who gonna help us, you know what I'm saying? But I'm waiting.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's been a long time coming, but the change gonna come, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to the people who will see this interview? Because it's gonna go on the internet.
Well, I would just like to say that if you love your child, you know what I'm saying? You know, like I love my brother. Stand up. You know, stand up and fight. You know what I'm saying? Because fighting for someone else's child is just as much as fighting for your own. You got to love your child to fight and be there and protect them. Because ain't nobody else gonna do that. The police definitely not gonna do it.
That's right.
Okay? They not gonna do it. So you got to do it yourself.
Okay. All right, brother. I appreciate you. Free Wayne Williams.
Yep. Free Wayne Williams. Because he ain't killed Clifford.
That's right. Right.